computer, so I'll do that now. So now we're starting to record.
Can you guys see the PowerPoint?
Yeah, we got it.
Looks good.
Okay.
Thanks, Hero. Week 9, here's what it looked like. The Surfers All Blues game was sort of a bit of an upset. I don't think anybody expected the Surfers to win. And Orsu went and put some points on Glendale, which was also surprising. That's about it. That New York game there pulled New York ahead and means the Zons can't make the finals. You can go to the next slide. So here's what it looks like. The Quins have a spot already. Then this week, New York and Beantown will battle it out for that second place in the East. And then the West is set with Life West and the Merlins going to the final. I pulled up, if you go to number 5, slide 5, then this is what the games look like coming up at the finals. So East 1 will play West 2, West 1 plays East 2, if everybody remembers. Yeah. Any questions? That's kind of what it looks like. Okay. Trends for the week, if you go to slide 6, we are focusing on our setup at the scrum, but I just wanted to remind people to sort of be thinking about how many resets is too many resets and how many restarts, because we don't really count those, how many restarts is really tolerable. And that's just a balance thing that we have to work towards. Penalty kicks, this is something Peter had pointed out earlier in the season, and we're still kind of seeing it, but just be ready for the quick taps. We should have awareness of where on the field they're probably going to use those, and then just be ready for it. Breakdown, I think it's really encouraging to me when I go through and I read the reports, because I feel like even if we're missing something during the match, that overall as a group, we're seeing the same pictures on the reviews. So we know when we've missed something a lot of times. So that's showing me that we're all sort of looking for the same thing and we're all aware of what our group standard is. So then what I would say is move deliberately so that you're putting yourself in the best place to see the best things, and especially if we get caught on the weak side, make sure we're swinging through when there's space there instead of just trying to manage things from that weak side. So just move with thought. And then make sure our first priority remains clearing the tackler. So that was my thoughts for week 9. And we can shut that down and go to advantage if you want, Steve. Does anybody want to go first?
This is Steven. I'll go.
Okay, great.
Cool. So I had Orsu Glendale. Went up to Portland for that game. It poured like all day the day before, and so I was worried. But the pitch was pretty good. So let's see. Both teams kind of started out and just telling me that the Orsu said, "Oh, we've changed our defense, and we're going to have some shooters." And so that was kind of in the back of my mind. And I knew that Glendale had a similar structure. So I would just say so my goals kind of going in were, to make sure that, anything I was calling was definitely that clear and obvious penalty, not going and hunting for something that might've been 50-50. One note is I've only gotten halfway through my film. So, amazing as 11 penalties are, it's not going to be the full story. But no excuses on not getting it done in time for today. So from what I did see, which is still only a half, I think, like I said, kind of calling the clear and obvious is, making sure that those shooters, so we didn't have radios, and there were 2 times where I, a mix of either thinking that someone was offside or just flat out guessing. I just think that's, we have to, it's on me as the ref to, know that that's unacceptable to guess. And so, it's, my goal, my takeaway is to be looking for the absolute clear and obvious and making sure that, unless I'm seeing it, it's not something to call, There was one that I penalized, and then afterwards I asked the ARs, and they were like, no, we're pretty sure she was okay. So again, that was kind of my takeaway was, just to be certain and not go hunting for these things. And I think that if I can do that, if I can rely on my health to, make sure that they're seeing stuff I'm not, but shouldn't be penalizing somebody because they were right on the edge, or even legal. We need to make sure. I need to make sure that it's something clear and obvious. Let's see. That was a pretty good game. I guess, Steve, do you want to go to the two? I put in two clips. Let's see. One was so too harsh. So this is Glendale carrying the ball, and so this kind of went to my clear and obvious. But Glendale's carrying the ball, gets tackled. The Orsu player brings her down. The Orsu player then gets out of the way, and the Glendale ball carrier gets back to her feet to try to play the ball, and I penalized her for holding on. And the comment out of her mouth afterwards was, oh, that was harsh. And it stuck in my mind, and I was like, oh man, was it harsh? Like, was I, was that kind of a clear and obvious? And this was pretty early in the game. And I think, after looking at it, I feel pretty good that the Orsu player did everything they needed to. And I think that, my thought process was rewarding Orsu for, for listening to me, for clearing the tackle, for, otherwise if she would have hung on for too long, I think they risk, a different penalty. So happy to get kind of your guys' input, but that was this one kind of stuck with me a little. So you're going to see 10.
All right, who has thoughts?
Even Pat, I might blow your mind on this because I like this penalty.
Pat, you're not saying play on?
I'm not saying play on.
Wow. No, so I mean, I guess just like thinking about it, like, I mean, I can absolutely tell you that the Glendale 10 did not, release the ball. She didn't. It wasn't like I think she just kept the ball. And I don't really know why we would have. It stuck in my mind. So it was something worth, I think, bringing up. But I don't know that. I don't know why I would really change my mind. I guess I'm out. Is there anyone that would have let her play on? Okay. I mean, I think that one's a pretty simple one. Oh, sorry, Haley.
Well, I mean, it didn't appear that she was held on the ground for very long. It looked like, I don't know, I'd have to see it again and watch it 100 times, but if you have to do that, then you should play on, right? That's just my thought.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, at least it's up for discussion, it sounds like. I think there's, so
Yeah,
maybe it's not as clear cut.
70%. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think,
okay.
Go ahead.
No,
Nope.
sorry, I was just going to.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say it's interesting because they had two like this on the D1A call, right? Marquise went over them actually, and it was interesting, really similar to this. And the decision was probably technically she is held, and so she should have released. So you're 6 minutes into your match. This call makes a lot of sense. So in his match, he was actually 78 minutes into his match, and the team that didn't release on the ground was getting their butts whooped. So there was some discussion about contextually, could you have said not held and let the flow of the game continue? So that was sort of interesting. So if you get a chance you might want to watch it. But I think from a technical standpoint, you are absolutely correct to do what you did here. Anybody else? Cool. Let's see the next one.
The other one's Super Person. So it's a really messy ball. I had a really good handle on it though, and so it ends up Glendale, kicks it back in the ruck, and so I'm all good. And then the Orsu 9, she jumps on it, and just, full dive. And I guess in my mind I was thinking, it's kind of an open play ball. So I was okay to play on, but I just wanted some guidance and feedback on whether or not we thought this was dangerous, and should there, I don't know, is it worth a talk at the next breakdown? Is it a penalty? Is it a play on? But go for it, Steve. So it's just that dive by the 9, and I just wondered if you guys had thoughts on, whether, just, I guess, general comments or thoughts.
It looks like the ball was out, right?
That's what I saw. So that's why I was kind of like, play on, but I just wondered, from a safety standpoint, is there any, management to do around it?
It's a very athletic play. I think you did a great job, awarding that. Just invite, letting the contest come.
Is anybody going to make a call there? Or are we all playing through it?
Play on.
If there's any call, it might be 13 yellow, like playing the ball on the ground out of that rucky thing.
What Steve said.
So you guys would go to the gal who's on the ground and then she kicks it back?
I think play on is a great decision here, right? I think Orsu gets the ball, happy days, they can play out of it. But to me, I'd be, if there's going to be a call, my call would be against yellow and playing it on the ground.
Okay. Yeah, it was definitely messy.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like we're mostly happy to keep going.
Hey, there was one thing, and I didn't put a clip in, so Steve, I'm all set, but I guess I had one thought, and maybe we've covered this. So Glendale, when they do their, in their line out, so they do walk in, and we've had plenty of conversations, and, I think we're all good on the guidance on that. But what do you do when the lifter, or I guess the jumper who actually gets the ball, has been stationary the whole time? Does that change our direction, or I guess does that negate the fact that people have walked in? Do they not need a pause then? Because if they're not walking in, then there is no pause, I guess.
They're still attracting attention from the defenders.
Steve, will you
But I
make
thought it was never the attention. I thought it was momentum.
Well, we just had this same clip in the D1, and that was the big thing that they were stating there was momentum. The fact that you had the single player up front and the other ones were coming in, they're getting the momentum of the line out. And we don't want to allow that to happen.
So these gals in the front get momentum because someone behind is, I guess, helping them? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't have a problem with that line out. Is there a problem with that line out?
Not that one. The other one
Okay.
we just looked at is the one I was talking about. This one here was fine. It's the other
Okay.
one.
It just struck me, right? I think we've always focused on the player entering being the jumper.
Uh-huh.
And this, I don't know, I'll have to go back and check, but I don't know that their entering jumper actually ever received the ball. And so it was a new look, and so I wanted to kind of get some feedback on it.
Yeah, if we can see it, I might have an idea, but I'm having trouble visualizing what you're saying.
Let me clip
Sorry.
a couple later, and I can
Okay.
send them around, Amanda, and maybe I can chat and then we can relay or something. But
Okay.
yeah, I think it's worth maybe
Taking
a
a
little bigger discussion.
Crack at before we get to finals and see it. Yeah, probably.
That's it. All right,
Cool.
I'll work on that. Otherwise, I've taken a bunch of time, so thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Let's see, who else do we have this weekend? Kat, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I had Amazons up in New York. Both teams needed a win to continue on their path to the Final Four. So it was like a pretty big make or break game. I'd had previous experiences with both of these teams that was pretty negative. So I wanted to be as like hands off as possible and just not be in the crosshairs when the anger happened, if the anger happened. So I had like zero rapport, and I had no help, or I had no chance of getting rapport with anything I do before the game. So my one goal, so some of my goals were like, don't shout and don't be like really shouty at the breakdown. So I was just trying to talk because I hoped my calmer voice would not anger the players. And then try to get rapport through using the captain, and just trying to be positive to be out there on the game. Overall, it was rainy conditions, but we actually didn't have that many scrums, and we got some good play. So that was pretty awesome. We also have the world's worst video. I know I said that before in the season, but I topped it. So great.
It was awful. It was absolutely awful.
Bob, did you take your motion sickness pills?
I did. I told her I was getting a headache from just watching it. It was
pretty bad.
They're all talking about my performance. Don't worry, guys. Can we play the one that says play first? Kind of far away, but so what do people think about this? Deliberate or just a knock on?
It's really hard to see, and it's from the other side of the field, and the pass is going out to the
There
outside
it
player,
is.
right? And then it's going to happen right
Nope.
here.
Yep.
She had it, right? She had it and then she dropped it.
Yeah, so when I saw this angle, I said, I see the player going up with her left arm to intercept the pass. I also saw that the pass was going high, not necessarily a flat pass. So that's why you see her kind of going up for it. So I even said if that pass was level, she might be gone, But lo and behold, we have another video, right, Kat?
Sorry.
Oh.
Just a minute later, if you go back to the clips.
Okay.
Yeah.
My thought here.
Kat, what did you do there?
No, go ahead, Steve. Keep talking. I'll tell you in a second, Steven.
My thought is like going for the poach is a high risk, high reward play, and this player gets it wrong. Like she knocks the ball on, and I think that's a penalty at least, like depending on where on the field you are and if there's other defenders.
Sure. All right, let's see
I'm with Steve. I just want to know if Kat threw some cards on that one.
Let's see the other clip. Look at that one. The good news is we have this from another angle.
This looks like the Titanic.
The instant replay. She doesn't even know what's coming at her.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't.
Wow.
And that's what I said. Now looking at that, I said,
Wow.
doesn't even know it was happening. It just like wham, and I think her response was sticking her arm up.
I think she has both arms up. And
This footage is amazing. But kind of just going on where you are in the field, and just because it's a tagging inside the 22, and like Gore says, risk reward, like not giving great players the benefit of the doubt. But from the other angle, I was totally empathetic to her.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I give a scrum, Steven.
Bold move. Okay.
Yeah. I thought she was going up to catch the ball, and it just came very, very fast at her, and she had to catch it. So I was happy.
So the second clip was a different angle of the first clip, right?
Yes. Same
Yeah.
thing.
So
Yeah.
I probably on the first one would have gone, yeah, at least like penalty, but I think the second one, I don't know. I think I'm with, I think in my mind, you know, it can hit you smack dab in the face, you know, and then if you knock it on, I don't know, you've got to be doing something really interesting to get a scrum out of it.
Well, so I blew the whistle and I straight up kind of like looked around and I'm like, can I sell this? And like no one really disagreed, so I was like, okay.
When you look at that, does it look like it's bouncing off of her forearms?
It does to me on the second one.
Yeah.
I think field position is kind of the most important factor here in the decision.
Yeah, but if it's bouncing off her forearms, is it a knock-on?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It's off of her hand.
Yeah, it's hand and then it hits the
not like
forearm.
that's her hand.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
it's the hand forearm.
Yeah.
It's definitely a knock. I was totally okay with the scrum here. But I would
Anything off the
I
other
would
shoulder is
understand an
fine.
intentional. But
Yeah, I think that's my thing is I would totally understand an intentional, but I just want to see if I wanted to hear what the group had to say.
I think you could sell this one, Kat, any way you went.
Yep, I think so too.
I would have given a scrum. It's Michelle.
Yeah, live, I thought it should have been intentional, but I was all the way across the field. So,
Cool. Thanks, guys.
yeah, good discussion.
Yeah. And then my next clip. So in the game, there's kind of a long build up to this too, so you might have to jump in. In the game, what I see is Orange like very deliberately going for the sack. Like she's got her arms up ready. A second the jumper hits the ground, she's going to take her down. And I think I used that information in making my decision. But I actually I think she took too long to make the sack. She wasn't successful, so I think it's actually collapsing them all. But we can play it and see. If you get motion sickness, please look away.
this is actually the good video.
Yes.
Looks like a good sack.
Yeah, I thought so too. She starts, and then she's starting the motion of the sack right immediately.
Yep. What do we think? What do the referees think?
Yeah, great athletic play.
Do you think we would have even had time to announce them all there? Yeah, I don't think so.
No, she played it just fine. It looked great.
Yeah, I think it's a sack.
I think we've seen clips like this, and we've agreed the same thing. So I think this is really in line with our process already.
Yep. Good one.
Cool beans.
Well, thank you very much for refereeing in the rain.
Well, thanks for
That was a
standing
good
in
one.
the rain and watching.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. All right, let's see. Who else do we have? Michelle O'Brien?
Yes.
You got the
So-
good weather this weekend, didn't you?
Oh, did I ever? As I'm driving to the airport in pouring down rain, and then I get there and it's 75 and beautifully sunny. But I mean, it was a little windy, so
I was going to say, yeah, it did look windy.
oh my gosh, motion sickness. I didn't even realize it until Roz was like, oh my gosh, I can't even watch the second half. Not really, she didn't say that. But the camera was shaking.
That's funny. Yours did not bother me that much.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Until it was brought to my attention. Then I was like, oh my gosh, this is
All I
terrible.
can see is the shaking.
Yeah. So surfers in Berkeley, and Steve, I hope you're feeling better. Anyways, let's see here. I had a really fun athletic game. Like it was very fun to be a part of, and the difference in score didn't feel like that. I mean, it was felt very 50-50 with possession kind of the whole game. Right before halftime, Berkeley kept asking me what time. They were like, oh, is time up? Is time up? And after time expelled, she tried to kick it to touch and missed. And Surfers ended up scoring. So it ruined their lead going right into halftime. And I feel like that kind of affected their attitude second half. Like they were playing a little more defeated, if that makes sense. Anyways, yeah, it was, I guess we can just go to the clips in terms of the game. I also didn't realize how many scrums we had until I was tagging the game. And apparently the wind, I don't know what else to blame. But it was like 26 scrums or something. It was a lot.
Wow.
Without rain.
But your ball out is amazing.
Thank you. I slowed down my cadence, and I found that the slower I pace my cadence, the better the scrums go. So
And you've been working a lot on your communication too, and I saw you had a note in there about it. So how did it go?
my communication this game was not I just like to explain it as, you know, in the movie Bridesmaids when they play tennis and she's like, get your shit together, Carol. Like, that's what I felt like. Like, I just couldn't get my words out. And I mean, the captains kind of both laughed at me at one point because I was like trying to spit out too many words at once. And it just, they knew what I was trying to say. And it was really, really lucky of me to have such like an even tone game that it didn't matter that I couldn't talk effectively. But other than that, they knew what I was saying. It just wasn't actually physically coming out well.
Okay. Because it looked like the cards were well handled. It didn't look like you talked too long or anything.
Well, that's because I couldn't figure out what to say and never really knew. So
Okay.
So the first one, and did I add them to the wrong folder? I thought I put it there. Okay. Must put it to the wrong one. So we can go the line out mall 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. So apparently this was just discussed in the either NERA or D1A call as well with the line out. Was it a mall obstruction where was in this case where the Surfers leaving the line out to draw that penalty?
Both
the
calls discussed it.
Yep, they did.
Say what?
Both calls. And we had 2 incidents this week in 2 different games for us. So
Okay. Well, let's play. If you want to play both the clips and then discuss, I will just go ahead and say I played on through both of them and didn't call anything because I was like, it was weird. This one, now replaying it, looks like somebody engages, but they get the ball out. This one definitely goes longer than the other one. And then the other one is like they don't go as far. So I think it's not, I don't want to say like immaterial, but it was just like, just get the ball out. Like they don't want to maul. You're not pushing it anywhere. They go like 5 meters and the ball comes out. Because in my thought, and the video dips out, so that's really cool. But in my thought process after the first one was like, oh, okay, kind of gray area, foggy. So then when the next one happened, I was like, they left the line out, or excuse me, they did not leave the line out. So when they traveled, to me, in real time, it looked like they just traveled the line of which they were in. This one, was maybe a little more, because they don't really move, they don't move out of the line unless I am not seeing it that way.
When you say they, who do you mean?
Oh, the Surfers.
They get out, they leave the line in both cases.
But they're moving within the same, like, perpendicular.
No, they move a meter away from the line of from where they were.
But that would be they're
They're moving vertically,
okay.
and they're moving the meter or more away. They've left the line out.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Peter.
Yeah, they've already left at this point.
Okay. So
Get this out of the game. Ding them.
so it's penalty surfers.
Yeah, they're trying to milk a penalty out of
Yeah, they are.
obstruction or something.
Yes. And okay.
And you see it in the second one where they raise their hands. They're advertising.
Yes. Uh-oh.
Look, we just lost Steve.
Yeah, we lost you, Steve.
Sorry.
You just unshared with us, didn't you?
How's that?
So,
There
Steve,
we
you're doing
go.
a great job.
well, actually, everybody, what do we think about like playing advantage off of this?
Can you repeat that? Sorry. What do we think about?
Like playing advantage off of that? Because look how Berkeley's getting this nice go forward movement.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
So where you run into trouble, though, is that once Berkeley passes the ball back, they're not legal. So you've got obstruction, right? Whether it's
Not
accidental or not.
Engages.
Yeah, while you're playing advantage, you're going to get other offenses,
Well,
probably by Berkeley, which means you got to stop the advantage.
don't you get potential for obstruction, but it's not actually obstruction because no San Diego players have engaged yet?
Yeah, but they're moving forward with players in front of the ball at that point.
No, but she's right that it's potential. It's not realized yet.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so but the question is are you creating an environment that could lead to penalties? In other words, are we creating the penalties by not addressing the offense?
Wait, what? Oh,
Deal with the first issue.
yeah, now I understand what you're saying.
I'm sorry. Do you understand what I'm saying here, Kat? Are we creating the environment by which subsequent penalties come?
So I feel like if after the first one, Michelle had just said, hey, San Diego, you're going to be liable for penalty if you leave the line out, she would have been okay then at the second one dinging them. Because the first one, I mean, Berkeley does get good ball out of it, and they play it when they want to. So I guess it's just a matter of how we want to deal with it, because it's going to happen. We had 2 different teams doing this weekend.
I don't know if I'm seeing it incorrectly, but in the first one, it looks like there is someone who binds onto the mall, and then the other players are backing up. But who's to say they're not backing up so they can come through and enter the mall through the gate? If they only want to put one player in the mall, they can put one player in the mall, and all those other players have to back up anyway because they have to get it to the last foot.
Yeah, if you get a ball formed right away, all bets are off.
Yeah, to me, they step back and then
It
like
looks
they've left
like
the
there's
line
one
out.
player that engages,
Okay.
It
like
does.
right behind it.
It does.
And for Michelle to call that penalty for them leaving the line out when a mall is formed is actually also technically incorrect.
That's why I played through. No, I'm just kidding.
And at that point, Berkeley can pass the ball back. Well, I mean, this is good to talk about, like, for when we are for each other at finals.
Yeah,
it's a
for
good
real.
thing to watch for.
To me, it looked
But
like
I
they'd
think in
left
that
before
first
the
one,
mall
if you call
formed.
that, that's
Can you back up a few frames?
Yeah, I think in that first one, all of San Diego's line is like, let's not do this. And then someone's like, well, now they're moving forward. So I guess we're
Right.
not doing this.
That's kind of what I see too.
Your line of thought. I like your line of thought with it. How do you want the ARs to react in this regard? Hey, there's one person that you can't see on the other side of the line out that has engaged, but you see 5 people bail out. When we work together this Saturday, do you want me to call maul in, bind, whatever, or do you want me to assume that you're going to have seen it? But through radio.
I would assume that the referee has seen it unless they direct you otherwise, and that's not something I normally direct.
Okay. Because we are we are going to work together, so we get to test pilot this. Your thought ahead of finals.
We can try it if you want, but if I don't hear you clearly, then I might think you're saying they're collapsing them all or something.
I understand.
Well, on another note that was mentioned for moving forward is my next clip. Where is it? All Blues line out technique. So Roz pointed this out to me that the All Blues kind of jump to draw a penalty for a free kick for the opponents to lift early. So don't mind the whistle after this. We'll just look at the technique. So the front jumper takes a pretty hard jump. So that kind of causes the surfers to want to jump and lift early. So this was 5 minutes into the game, and I was like, oh shit, they lifted early, and then All Blues didn't throw it straight, so I just brought it back and redid it. But that's not the point of this clip.
They've done that earlier in the season. That seems to be something that they try to draw.
Glendale does it as well.
I mean, they did it a couple more times, not every time in this game, but like this was probably the most aggressive one.
I think they try to do it to see if you're going to react.
And I mean, in real time, I totally, in my head, I was like, I should totally free kick surfers for lifting early. But I'm really glad I just reset it because it was kind of like I could have played on because it was kind of like two wrongs, if you will. Like they lifted early and then it wasn't straight. But I just
did you notice the early lift by Gold or only the early lift by Blue?
Only by Blue. I didn't notice the Gold.
Okay.
In real time. And when I was taking video.
They have a tendency to have that first jump be like maybe a foot and a half at the most, just enough to create a reaction from their opposition. That one was more, but normally it's just a very slight jump to try to draw something.
So my understanding is that you can fake, but you can't leave the ground. Is everybody on that page, same page as me, or?
Yep.
Peter?
Same page.
Correct.
Okay.
Players may not jump or be lifted or supported before the ball has left the hand.
Okay, so since I know both Glendale and All Blues are doing this, that'll be part of what I send out to the coaches tomorrow.
They can jerk, but they can't leave the left there.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, she gets a good foot off the ground for sure.
Yeah, so the early up should be against Glendale in that clip.
Correct. And I think one of the other clips you showed us earlier, they were doing it.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Steve. Like, I'll follow what we decide as a group. I feel like we see this a lot at many levels of the game, and I don't feel like it's something that has come down as like we should get this out.
No.
And it also feels like we just did week 9 of this competition, and this is maybe a bit of a technical thing. So my personal opinion would be to let this go. But
so we've addressed the early lift.
I'm agreeing with your sense. Is you jumped in order to draw them up. You succeeded. You sucked their attention there. I'm not going to free kick them for going up early because you were up early too.
Right. But also we've told teams not to lift early throughout this season.
Yeah, we've talked about this earlier in the season. But I agree with Peter. I wouldn't be penalizing blue in this situation because gold is trying to draw it.
Yeah, I think the reset was 100% correct here.
Yeah, I think it was a great call on our part.
Yes. That's all I have.
Awesome.
Great job.
And then Jenny Lou, you're our last referee this week.
Cool. Had Beantown versus North Shore. It was another do or die situation. And North Shore is pretty much out of it. They weren't going to make the top four ever. By like week 4. But Beantown has to win the next 2 games to take that number 2 spot. So they were raring to go, and North Shore was looking to spoil. So turf field under the lights. Peter and Max were there, so that was nice. Got a couple clips here. Let's see. Could we do PK or try? All right, so Beantown's trying to exit, and the scrum half's delivery is not fast. Amelia Don't Tell Her said that. But I felt the number 6 moving before I had thought that there was movement by the scrum half. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to wait and see if she impacts the play at all. If not, I'm just going to kind of play on. If she gets the kick away. If not, then I kind of have to call this. So I had made that decision. So Peter's point here, he did my PR this week. If I was in maybe a different position, a deeper position, maybe I could have managed her out of that. Maybe I could have had a better view so I could be like 100% crystal clear. But let's see what the group thinks.
Being kind of harsh. Poor North Shore. Let them score.
This was like maybe the 15th minute of the game. No one had scored yet.
They could have had the first score. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
When I saw this, I was like so excited because I was like, this is such an amazing try. And then I was like, oh no. So as just like someone who wasn't really into the game at all, that's kind of what I thought. Not into your game, just like watching this clip. But what I do like is that you clearly blow the whistle before she touches the ball down. So it's not like you're completely crushing their hopes and dreams. Like they come down, you like blow the whistle. They're like, yeah. And then you're like, no. So I think it's really well timed when you blew the whistle. But I don't think I would have called it.
Thanks. Thanks for the feedback. Anyone else would call that?
That's exactly what that scrum half is trying to get you to do.
I think she just has a glacial delivery.
Well, there's that too, but she's trying to draw side penalties.
That's a very tough call from where you're positioned.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was my comment. You should have been to your left about 3 meters and perhaps back a meter.
Yeah.
This is where you need your trusty AR teammate on the sideline.
You look at
I had an AR who it was his first year reffing, so I wasn't comfortable relying on that completely. So I just kind of went with my gut.
kind, Jenny. You wouldn't rely on him at all.
Oh, poor guy.
He's very enthusiastic. How about we go with PK or yellow card? Again, this is the same player. This is the same player who is actually from Boston, and her whole family was there tailgating. And then this is like maybe like the 65th minute. No, this is probably farther in, like 72, 72nd minute. Her whole family is there, and then I yellow card her all as well. But let me know what you think. So North Shore is down by quite a bit at this point. And this is near the 22. This player does something cynical, and she's not trying to make a play at all. She basically just slaps the ball, and then she, like, I did the double blast, and then she just ran away and was like, oh well. But my question for the group is this the best call for the game? Could it have been penalty only since North Shore was sort of getting crushed? And it was the 72nd minute.
Can you tell us what your penalty count was? You have any idea?
18.
How many, like, does North Shore have a slew of, I guess it's going to be a penalty.
North Shore had slightly
like
more
balance.
penalties. Yeah, slightly more penalties, and they tended to cheat when they were under pressure, like everybody, right? And Peter and I discussed, like, maybe I could have made when there was another opportunity to slow the game down and make a kind of a big show of talking to the captain and say, this is, every time you're under pressure, you're infringing deliberately, so I need you guys to clean it up. So maybe that could have helped the situation beforehand. But, in hindsight, I didn't do that, but I kind of had quick chats in passing, but I could have made a better showing so that it made more sense to people. But this had all the makings of a yellow card, but was it the right call for the game?
Just in context, look at it. It's about 70 minutes into the game. The second half was all Beantown, and Jenny got a try off a nice penalty advantage at about 50 minutes, and then there was another destructive defensive penalty at about 58 minutes. So there were opportunities, and Shore was showing a pattern of crumbling under pressure.
Okay.
But I guess my point was that I would hope take the earlier opportunities to make a bigger impression.
Do we have referees out there who have thoughts about this? Is everybody doing what Jenny did and throwing the card, or is somebody going to just penalize? Anybody playing on?
This is Amelia. I would just penalize, given the situation. And like Jenny said, it's the end of the game. Chicago's down by a ton. What's that yellow card going to do for the match?
Yep, fair enough.
Well, at the same time, like, I feel I had the same kind of situation in my game a few weeks ago where I had a bunch of penalties towards the end, and I could have stopped that. And it could have also been an opportunity to reward the dominance of the other team, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So Beantown is like, they're on the front foot, and Chicago's being destructive. Like, yeah, Peter says it probably should have come earlier, but this is cynical enough and clear enough that I think you made the right call.
So it's probably one of those things where we can all agree it's going to be very contextual, whatever you decide. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool.
I was happy with the card, just watching it one off, so.
Cool. And then there's one last clip. This is just sort of like a strange picture, and it just ended up as a try. So the player on the ground hands the ball up to a potential rucker, but the ruck never formed. And she just made her way through the traffic.
Can we see that again?
Make it big.
You do widescreen, Steve?
Can you make it black and white?
Can you back it up again?
No, that was the play right there.
Yeah.
At that point, it looks like an attempted tackle, and she just kind of broke the tackle, and he played on it. I think that's a good try.
Yeah, 11 sort of gave up. I'm not sure what she thought was happening. Or maybe she didn't, I don't know.
I think it was Jenny was pointing to was that right there where before the ruck forms, she hands the ball, puts it straight up and hands it to a teammate. So we never got a ruck.
Call.
Jenny, I think you had great anticipation on this because honestly, I was watching that breakdown for like 5 extra seconds before I realized someone was running away.
Thanks. But yeah, that's just showing a strange picture in case we see it again.
Looked awesome to me.
Thanks.
Cool. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks, I guess.
All right, we are getting close to time, so I'll try to run through the rest real quick. But this is what next week looks like. We got Joe in Atlanta. Lee's going to Glendale. Julianne at Orsu. She gets the pretty scenery. And Haley's got the really big match, New York versus Beantown. That's the one to watch. We can go on to the next slide.
We're going to get a video for this one?
Oh my gosh. They said they will not use the same videographer, so hopefully we will have good video on this. I think they would understand how important it is. Selection process for finals. I wanted to address briefly finals because I realized we're like a week out, a week and a day from when we will travel. So I'm having a meeting tomorrow night with the performance reviewers in the group where we're sort of going to talk about who's going where and slot people in. Final decisions will not be made until after round 10 is finished. So those will be announced to you probably next week on the call. For every match, we are using only our match officials. That's the referee, the ARs, and the technical zone. It will be our crew covering. Everybody in our crew is traveling with the exception of Greg Gilliam. Everyone can expect to work 2 roles each day. So we have 5 games, like I showed you earlier on Friday, 5 games on Sunday. Everyone will work 2 different roles, 2 different games. And then on Saturday, there's only 2 games. So some people won't work on Saturday. I think. Maybe everybody works, but you'll work 1. So, what else? There's 2 D1 Elite matches on the Saturday that we're going to cover. And I am trying to get confirmation from USA Rugby whether those are exhibition matches or whether they're actually finals. No one seems to know the answer to that question. Just
It
so
could
that
be exhibition. There's no finals right now.
Yeah, well, I was told they were finals, but yeah, all signs are pointing to exhibition matches. So it impacts how we assign referees, so we do need to know for sure. So everybody's probably going to referee once, right? We've got 12 games. 1 or 2 people will referee, obviously, twice. So then just, I guess for me, everybody needs to just go in with the expectation, I may be there for 2 days until I do my first match, and then that we're all really working together to support the team. You could come in on Friday and do your first match in the middle and then just AR the next 2 days. So really anything can happen. We'll know more next week, and then hopefully everybody can come in with a real positive mindset and we'll be able to work together and it'll be great. And then just so everybody feels pretty good about what's going to happen, feedback is going to come to you directly from your coach. So we'll talk more about this next week, but that means just start thinking about how we give feedback to each other and when it's appropriate to give feedback or to not give feedback. Because sometimes a referee will ask you for feedback, but really what you should probably do is withhold that because that's going to come from their coach. So just, give them the positive stuff coming from you. That goes for coaches, PRs, everybody who's not that person's direct coach. Does anybody have comments? Yep.
We don't get to do the piranha thing?
I really, that's one of my pet peeves. Okay. Does anybody have anything else, or does that all sort of make sense? Cool.
I have something.
Yes, ma'am.
I've been informed that the party theme is America's Best Dance Crew. I'm just going to read the text. So get all the reps on board.
Oh my God.
A dance off. So we are ready to see what y'all got. So I think we're all supposed to match, like, I don't know, Backstreet Boys or something like that. So
I heard Waldo actually dances.
Well. We're going as where's Waldo, so.
Yeah, Waldo dances quite well.
So. No, we need a separate outfit for America's Best.
Oh, no.
Dancing, yeah. I mean,
everybody can't kick the bag. I'm sorry.
I'm all for someone taking the lead and sending around, a quick way to find a costume, preferably an Amazon link.
Does this mean like lots of glitter?
Senior citizens are exempted.
Exactly.
Is putting glitter on. Let's do it, guys.
Haley, did they tell you what day and time the party is? Because I can't get that information from USA Rugby either.
Well, I mean, it's always like the Sunday after the final place, yeah.
So we lose half of our crew on Sunday. But yeah, the stragglers can figure something out. I'll send a text to Mila, I guess. Awesome. Cool. Anything else? All right. Go to the next slide. Or not. Cool. Yeah, so, I mean, you see my notes down there. So I just want to say thank you, for covering for each other and for carrying each other when we need to be carried. It's really awesome to watch people step up and take matches. Steve was sick. Thank you, Michelle, for going down there. I know Haley's done it. I know Lee Bryant has stepped up and taken matches. It all really... But it's great to be a part of a team where people are helping each other out. So thank you guys very much. So I appreciate it. And that's it.
Amelia this weekend.
Yeah, Amelia. Cool. Well, thank you guys. Have a...
Wait, what's Amelia doing?
What?
An ARP game.
Cool.
Oh,
Yep.
go.
Oh, you know what? That was the one I meant to make our Celebrate Success slide about, and I thought of it and then I forgot it. And I was like, I know I had something. What was it? So yes, congratulations, Amelia. We're all really looking forward to seeing the ARP match. It's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
So cool. All right, that's all I've got. Unless anybody else has something, y'all have a great evening.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
Talk tomorrow.
Bye.
Yep.